Lesson 3, groups get complicated quickly. So you've already seen me draw this progression from 1 to a pair of users to 3 users. And you've heard me say that after 3 users, you start to get effects like keeping track of an audience or external relationships or persistence of conversation. But that complexity keeps rising, even in small groups. So if you have 4 people, all of whom have to be connected, you can see that it's already starting to look a little complex. And by 5, even something as simple as a group of 5 people, the internal complexity is considerably higher. Just the amount of communications people have to do to stay connected to one another is considerably higher. In fact, there's a regular pattern to this. 2 people is 1 connection. 3 people is 3 connections. 4 people takes 6 connections. You have to have 6 pairs of people communicating with each other to have a group of 4 people where everyone is talking to everybody. By the time you get to 5 people, you have 10 connections. So the internal communications of a group gets complicated much faster than the group gets large. This has really practical ramifications for how groups work together. If you've ever wondered why it seems almost twice as hard to get a group of 4 people to decide what movie to see or what restaurant to go to than a group of 3 people, the answer is it's actually mathematically twice as hard. 4 people isn't a much bigger number than 3 people, but 4 people requires twice as many agreements among the group in order to reach consensus. And that just keeps going. And in fact, the math of this is governed by a formula that says if you double the size of a group, you quadruple the number of internal connections required for everyone to talk to everyone. If you increase the size of a group by 10 times, you increase the internal complexity of the group's communications by 100 times. So one of the key challenges in managing any group, whether it's a business or it's just a group of friends, is what happens as the rising complexity of the group grows faster than the members of the group themselves. You can see this effect of rising complexity in your own life if you think about the places where an activity changes when it's being done by a small group versus being done by a large group. A small group of people wants to go to a movie together versus a large group of people wants to go out to a movie. A small group of people wants to eat together versus a large group of people wants to eat together. A small group of people wants to travel together versus a large group that wants to travel together. And when you think about the large groups and you think about things like advanced reservations, having one person who's responsible for keeping track of everybody, lots of preparation, lots of planning, lots of information about how the large group is going to get to the restaurant or travel to another country, you can see that all of those things are adaptations to the increased complexity of the group. You can't have a large group travel to another country, everyone making their own arrangements, deciding when they get up, deciding when they get back to the hotel, because the group will break up all the time. And so you get places where there are adaptations to this group communication problem in large groups that you don't need in small groups.